this is gonna be a video. As you maybe know or maybe not, I don't know. I love maths. I'm that weird person that likes maths. I love maths. I don't care. I love maths, period. That's it. Basically, my favorite videos of the year are statistics. Mental illness. Anyways, that's what I'm gonna be doing today because I love it. I'm gonna do it. But it's gonna be stressful because, yeah, let's just go into it. Before I start, I'm just gonna say the books that are turned around are ARCs from NetGalley. It doesn't really matter which ones they are, just, yeah. In 2020, I read 104 books. Yeah, 104. The amount of reading that I've read for the past 3 years has, like, gone exponentially up. In 2018, I think I read 21 books. Last year, 2019, I read 73 books, and this year I read 104. And the total pages that I read, according to me, not Goodreads, is 36,914. Goodreads has it like 1,000 above, but I count from the page the writing starts and the page the writing stops. I don't count the authors, no acknowledgements, none of that. That doesn't count. It's what I read. And on average, that means that I read 101.13 pages a day. So 100 pages, basically. Now let's go into each month, basically. Each month I read at least 3 books, because that's the minimum. Last year I read 1 book in 1 month, and that was horrifying. But the least amount of books that I read this year was 3 books, and the most was 17, which is a very big difference. Which means, if you calculate all of them and do maths, you get an average of 8.7 books a month. In terms of genre, obviously I read fantasy the most. That's just always that. 51, so basically half of the books that I read were fantasy. Duh, because that's my favorite genre. Then, contemporary romance. I read 21 books. In terms of mystery / thriller / horror, because I'm not gonna separate them, I read 7 books. In terms of just contemporary, where romance is not the focus, I read 15 books, and the remaining 8 were sci-fi. Next, in terms of whether it's part of a series or not, so if it's a standalone or if it's part of a series, I read 53 books that are part of a series. Again, half, and half were standalone. Not exactly half, but you know. Also, another thing that I didn't do last year, this year I wrote down the days that it took to read a book. So, yeah. Basically, I calculated it and it gave me an average of a book taking 3.5 days to read. And also, because of that, I know how many days of the year I read, which is 213 days of the year. So I kind of need to read more every day than less. Because like a third of the year I've not done anything. I haven't read anything. Next, let's talk about star rating. So, again, this year, I didn't read a single 1-star book. So clearly there's something wrong with the way I rate books, or I'm just too generous, or I just read books that I like. I don't know. Who knows? Not me. In terms of star rating, I read 29 5 stars, which is pretty good, pretty normal, I guess. Then I read 18 4.5 stars, 23 4 stars, and the 2 books in this 4-star section that are from the Lunar Chronicles, they're actually the little stories that are in them. I counted them as books because Goodreads counts them as books. So they're just there to symbolize the book, which is Glitches and The Queen's Army. Then I read 5 3.5 books, 11 3-star books, 6 2.5 books, 6 2-star books, and 3 1.5-star books, which, adding all these ratings together, it averages out to a 3.97 star rating, which is good, which it's almost a 4-star. That's pretty good. Now let's move on to book sizes, because that's interesting. The biggest book that I read this year was Winter by Marissa Meyer. It is 824 pages. And the shortest book that I read was the little story at the back of this book, which is The Queen's Army by Marissa Meyer, which is 23 pages, I think, which is 27 pages. I'm blurred. Whatever. So, I only read one book that was 800 pages. Basically, the way I divide it is a book is in the, for example, 400 page section if it ranges from 400 exactly to 499. So I have one book that is 800 pages, 5 books that are 600 pages, 8 books that are 500 pages. That big section, which is like 26 books, is 400 pages. And then right underneath, again, almost the same amount, like 30 books are 300 pages. 15 books are 200 pages. And the remaining books that all look really weird because they're all turned around because they're all arcs that are comics, basically, are 100 pages. And the last book, which is Princess Ever After, is the only one that is under 100. Again, averaging that out, it gives an average size of books, which is 355 pages. Basically, in between 400 and 300, which was the most I read. Next, let's talk about authors. So first, whether I have read of this person before. Over like 60% was I haven't read before. They're new to me. I've never heard about this author, never read about them. None of that. Only 23 books were books by authors I had previously read from prior to this year. Now, in terms of the author's gender, so if I've misgendered anyone, please tell me, but I think I have it right. So, obviously I read more from women, which is like 70%. Exactly 30 books were by men. And then one book, which is to the side, is by a non-binary author, which is Mason Deaver. I hope that's all right. I don't think I messed up. Please don't cancel me. I'm trying. Now let's talk about whether they were this year's releases or backlist books, which, again, I don't read a lot of books from the year. I read mostly books that I bought from previous years because, yeah, I want to read books that have been out a long time. And also I can find them easier on Amazon if they've been out longer, because my Amazon hates me. As you can clearly tell, most of the arcs are there, because duh. I have one book that is from 2021, which, yeah, and then the rest are all from this year, which is 21 books. Then I thought it would be fun to just show you the 2019 and 2018. The rest I just jumbled up. I didn't put it in order, but you can tell that very few books are from recent years, because the most are from 2017 and back. Finally, I put them in rainbow. Hello. I wanted to see again what was the most frequent color that I read. So, as usual, the least read color of book that I read is yellow. I don't know why, but I also don't like yellow. So, whatever. Maybe that's what it is. But you can clearly tell that the most colors that I read were green and blue, the same as last year, but also white and black, which is my aesthetic, so I'm not mad. And lastly of these statistics are the amount of readathons and the amount of books I read because of those readathons. I participated in 9 readathons. I'll put all of them up, but I don't remember all of them. Because of those, I read 31 books, which is weird because that was the exact same number from last year. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. Now, let's talk about little fun facts about the books, like I did last year, which are basically from Goodreads. The most popular book that I read was Harry Potter, because I read the illustrated version. We're not gonna talk about it. Next. And the least popular book, aka the book with least amount of ratings, is Gunland, which was an arc that I read that I really enjoyed, and only 54 people have read this. In terms of the books with the highest and lowest rated average rating that I read, the one with the highest rating is Heartstopper Volume 3, which has a rating of 4.65 on average, which is amazing. I think last year the highest book was also Heartstopper. And the book with the lowest average rating, yet again, is Gunland Volume 1, which has an average of a 3.16, which is sad because I really liked it. Now, books that I've reread this year, because last year I only read one book that I'd read before. I'm actually going to count how many books I reread this year. So I reread 4 books this year, which is fine. I reread the first 3 books in the Lunar Chronicles and obviously Harry Potter. Also, I did not DNF a single book, which I'm proud of, which means that I probably, oh no, because some books I hated, but I read them all because I have mind power. So as a last segment, I did a video which is books I wanted to read this year. My bitch ass did not fucking read any of them almost. So in that video, which I'll put up there, I said I wanted to read 7 series. I wanted to read Lady Midnight, which I did not. I wanted to read Truly Devious, which I did not. I wanted to read Scythe, which I did. I read all 3. I wanted to read the Passenger and Wayfarer series, but I unhauled them. I wanted to read the Renegade series. I did not. I wanted to read The Hobbit and the rest. I did not. And I wanted to read Throne of Glass, which is why I did not read the rest. I was way in over my head. Yeah. I didn't finish that. I read almost all of them. I have one missing. But yes, those are all the stats from 2020. I hope they were interesting to you. I find them interesting. I love stats, as I said in the beginning. But that is everything for today, and I'll see you in my next weird video. Bye!